cover circumstances surrounding the early morning jailbreak in a bid to apprehend the masterminds. And joining us via telephone to speak more on the jailbreak is Jonathan Omajali, who will give us an update. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us on Panorama.
Yes, very good morning to you. Afternoon, rather, like you said, 12 escaped in the early hours of this morning. The acting Controller General Nigerian Correctional Service just granted us an interview before this discussion, and he said 3 have actually been recaptured. The unfortunate part of that escape is that the service lost one of their men while they were trying to escape. So it's a very sad situation here. But of course, they've given the assurance that they are going to, the rest, the 9 who escaped are going to be brought back to the facility. So we wait to see how that is going to unfold. As I speak to you right now, the Commissioner of Police is here, the State Security Advisor is also here, and they've also given the assurance that in the next few hours, in the next few days, hopefully we are going to get them back. It's not the first time we are experiencing jailbreak at this facility. We had one just as recent as 2016, and so this one really caused for concern, just like the Commissioner for Information and Communication said earlier this morning when he gave a press statement. He said it raises serious concern, and we hope that the government will be able to put things in place so that we don't have a repeat of it.
Okay. Talking about the ambience in that community right now, it is better imagined. We all can imagine that. But really, about the members of the community there, have they been informed? Are security measures in place? Have you been talking to people? Do we know if any of them have been threatened lately by any of the inmates that escaped?
Yes, I think the atmosphere is actually very calm. Starting, I would say, while coming to this place, I was expecting there were going to be maybe roadblock and checks by security personnel. I didn't see that until I got to the correctional facility itself. But in the course of the conversation with the acting Controller General, he said that they have put in place security measures, and they've told the locals here to be on the watch out in case there's any suspicious movement. So, of course, everything is calm at the moment, but the kind of security measures and checks you would have expected to see in every corner is unfortunate we are not seeing that at the moment.
All right, and Jonathan, thank you so much for your time, and then we hope to get more updates from you on efforts made to return the inmates back to the to custody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. A group of youth and women from Kogi Central Senatorial District have submitted a petition to INEC to recall Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan as senator representing Kogi Central. Ijeshe Charity, flanked by other members of the concerned Kogi youth and women, after submitting the petition, notes that more than 50% of the voters have signed the recall petition as required by law.
Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, we have come to submit a petition of loss of confidence. The entire people of Kogi Central have lost confidence in her. We've submitted that petition. It's been received. All other documents have been received. This is the acknowledgement copy of the petition. But we all know the INEC rules. You cannot submit a petition without having to go and get signatures of registered voters, and that's why we're now saying, as a people, we are recalling her back from the Senate, because we have gotten what it takes to recall her back from the Senate. INEC is an institutional body, and its constitution is binding them, and as such, they will have to follow due process. So they will get back to us and they will do their job.
I think if you see the process the good people of Kogi Central has carried out so far, this will be the first recall that will be successful. The good people of Kogi Central have spoken in one voice. It is simple. We need credible representative.
It is a political field that has favored men more than the female, and we having such opportunity is supposed to be what we are supposed to leverage on to ensure that the future of what we clamor for, all the suffering of NGOs and international intervention, will not be in vain.
Let's turn attention to sports. The glory days of dominance of age-grade football by Nigeria at the football global stage is fast becoming history. What could be responsible for our junior teams not being able to make a mark in world football in recent times? In this next report, correspondent Olalekon Kilajolu attempts to find answers to this growing trend.
For decades, Nigeria's national youth teams, particularly the under-17 and under-20 squads, have been dominant forces in world football. The Golden Eaglets, Nigeria's under-17 team, hold a record 5 FIFA under-17 World Cup titles, while the Flying Eagles have consistently reached the latter stages of international tournaments. However, in recent years, these teams have seen a sharp decline in performance, failing to replicate their past successes.
Mohamed takes, Mohamed scores! Oh, what a goal from the captain! That is top quality, a magnificent goal from Musa Mohamed.
A closer examination of this downturn points to several factors, but one issue that continues to stir debate is the age factor, the long-standing suspicion of age fraud, and its implication for player development. Nigeria's youth teams were once regarded as near invincible on the global stage. From 1985 to 2015, the Golden Eaglets have consistently produced world-class talents and won multiple FIFA Under-17 World Cups. The Flying Eagles also made notable appearances in Under-20 World Cups, including a runner-up finish in 1989 and 2005.
Here's Yahaya, brings in Ocon. Clever finish by Samuel Ocon. But a great pass from Musa Yahaya to set it all up. 23 minutes played at the Khalifa bin Zayed Stadium, and it's the Nigerian supporters who are celebrating.
However, in recent editions of these tournaments, Nigeria's youth teams have struggled. The Flying Eagles exited in the quarterfinals of the 2023 Under-20 World Cup, while the Golden Eaglets crashed out in the round of 16 at the 2023 Under-17 World Cup. These results have raised concerns about the country's ability to sustain its dominance.
Because our coaches are very lazy. They just stick to a certain part of the country and say, oh, this is the players we want to use. No, go around to look for players, because we have many of these players around.
We wait for so long, and then a few months before the competition, we rush to put teams together. These are the factors affecting age-grade teams.
One of the biggest criticisms of Nigeria's youth football system is the alleged use of overage players. This issue has plagued African football for years, with Nigeria often in the spotlight. While FIFA introduced the magnetic resonance imaging (MRI) scans to verify players' ages, there are still concerns about systemic loopholes that allow older players to compete at youth levels. To revive Nigeria's youth football dominance, urgent reforms are needed, which includes strict enforcement of age verification to curb age cheat, investment in grassroots development, improved transition programs for young talents, as well as accountability and transparency in ensuring fairness in selections and player documentation. In Abuja, Olalekon Kilajolu, NTA Sports.
And to speak more on our focus is Femi Ajilore, an Olympic silver medalist. Mr. Femi, thank you so much for joining us on Panorama today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. You know, we've had so much players, people with talent, sporting talents, even some of them in the world of sports doing so much for the nation, but really they struggle to match up when it comes to their careers. What do you attribute to this?
Like you rightly said, a lot of them struggle at the tail end of their career, but I can tell you what is most important for us and to focus on is the grassroots development, and as an advocate of grassroots football development, I think it's important that we shift, a lot of focus, especially to the grassroots football. If you look at the likes of the reigning African best or world best, they all started from the grassroots. But it's unfortunate that in our country, we want a ready-made player. If you look at what we have just seen from the highlight that we've just seen on the TV right now, we saw the likes of Osimhen, Taiwo Awoniyi, and the other young lads that are doing it well for the Super Eagles now. They all started, at that level. But unfortunately, we don't have a good transition program for our grassroots development. And as you can see, the last World Cup, we were not there. The under-20, we are struggling. So that is to tell us that there are many things that we are lacking, especially when it comes to grassroots football. And for me and so many, some of my friends that we've been able to represent the country, we have put a lot of programs together. Of course, we were doing it in line with the FCTFA, and we call it the Kids Soccer League. There is need for us to reform our grassroots football development. If we don't do this, we will continue to struggle, especially when it comes to world stage football.
Okay, now, talking about world stage football, you played with Messi years ago. What is it that we are not doing to be more competitive, to match up when it comes to global stage, sports-wise?
Yeah, like I earlier said, the like of Messi that you just mentioned started at the grassroots level, but we don't have those platforms. And not just the platform alone, we also need a lot of sporting facilities. If you check in our localities, there are not so many good facilities that the children can come out and develop. And this is one of our biggest challenge. But as we can see, recently we saw what happened at the Go project. There has been a lot of plan ahead. We are hoping that these plans will be accomplished. If we don't put all these plans into accomplishment, we will continue to struggle. Just like, let me use education as an instance. For every children, if you don't start from your primary stage, there is no way you can get to secondary education without having the primary education. So it's the same in football. If you want our youngsters to do it well at the future, there is need for them to start from somewhere. And this is what we are not doing right. So, but like I said earlier also, some of us have looked at some of these factors and we are beginning to bring out programs that we can use to encourage, kiddies' active participation in football, in sports in general, because we believe these are the futures of Nigerian.
Of Nigeria. Okay, you have made an impact on the global stage for Nigeria and outside Nigeria. What word of advice would you give to budding athletes that are willing to put in their best, all they have, towards the development of sports in Nigeria?
My advice to especially the young athlete is never to relent. We find it difficult to have a viable, suitable, enabling environment, but this is our country. So we can't say because of that we will not progress in our career or what we are doing. So for every young athlete, there is need for them to stay focused, believe in what they are doing, keep working hard, and at the right time, they are going to be spotted out.
Okay, let me ask you this before I let you go. Is the private sector truly helping to harness most of these talents we have?
Yeah, definitely. There is need for that also, because one of the greatest challenges we are also facing as an individual is when we create programs, especially that enables the kids to develop and to grow, you hardly see people coming to support what you're doing. And a lot of time it's not easy to take all the bills, We are trying to create the platform, we're trying to give them the enabling environment, but there are still more to do. So, but of course, if the private sectors comes in, it will be a bit easier. And when we partner with them, we can get the best out of these young stars.
Okay, all right. Finally, I'm sorry. Let's take a brief analysis. Nigeria-Zimbabwe match tomorrow. Do you see us winning this match quickly?
Yeah, I see us winning the game. Of course,
For real?
it's not going to be an easy task.
Okay.
If you check on the news, the Zimbabwe Federation has promised their team a whole lot. The same for us. There has been a lot of promises for our players as well. And I can tell you, our players from their last game, you can see that they are really hungry to do the nation proud. And this is the joy of every Nigerian. Though it's not going to be an easy one, but I am believing that they are going to do us proud.
I can see you're very optimistic there. All right, Femi Ajilore, I want to thank you so much for joining us on Panorama. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. A plantation comprising about 30 hectares of cannabis sativa, popularly known as Indian hemp in Odukpani local government area, has been destroyed, with 3 suspects arrested by men of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Cross River State. Paul Abel brings us details.
With intelligence report, men of the NDLEA sprung into action, and after trailing the culprits for a long period, were able to discover this vast land deep into the forest, where different species of cannabis sativa were planted, including the nursery. In view of the consequences and being illegal, the farm was destroyed, while some grams of the plant with the suspect were brought to the state headquarters of the NDLEA as exhibit.
Our officers went there for hours. They were on it, trying to make sure that they destroyed the things that they planted there. And they are even having their houses, makeshift house, staying there, as if it's a legitimate business.
While commending the synergy with the military on the successful conduct of the operation,
as a warning to all the people that are doing such things, I'm telling you, the law is after you. NDLA in particular, we are after you and we'll get you.
The NDLEA is hopeful that if all stakeholders play their respective roles, Cross River State will be rid of drug cultivation and peddling. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
You're watching Panorama on NTA. Let's take a breather. More news when we return.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, we undying deeper, we bet solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Ethnicity is unique, we have more than just a nation.
We are Nigeria, we are Nigeria, strengthening unity, we know they carry lives. We are Nigeria, we are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Thanks for staying with the NTA. In order to achieve its goal of reducing reliance on fossil fuel, carbon credit objectives, economic sustainability and environmental preservation, the time for the nation to transit to renewable energy solutions is now. These are views of environmentalists who share their perspectives on the nation's march towards sustainable energy solutions. Larry Bilay has details.
Nigeria is endowed with abundant renewable energy resources and as such is prepared to transit in the area of wind, hydro, solar and biomass to scale up energy supply. The federal government, acknowledging this advantage, has made concrete plans in its policies such as the 2023 Electricity Act that recognizes renewable energy. There is the National Energy Transition Plan launched in 2022 that targets 30,000 megawatts of electricity from renewable energy sources and reaching carbon neutrality by 2060. And the off-grid solutions to address energy poverty using solar system, which is gaining traction in Nigeria.
The clean energy transition will also generate, jobs.
Experts adduced the challenges of transitioning in the country to include grid integration, infrastructure development, and financing.
In a situation whereby we are relying on imported materials all through to be able to transit, that becomes a huge challenge. The cost cannot be friendly. There must be investment.
Environmentalists advocates collaboration between public and private sectors along with international partners in overcoming these challenges and accelerating the renewable energy transition. In Lagos, Larry Pilayi, NTA News.
To industrial growth, Nigeria's target of rapid industrial development can be realized with the revamping of the raw materials sector to meet the demands of the manufacturing industry and reduce import pressure. Raw Materials Research and Development Council of Nigeria is galvanizing support of industry players to achieve these objectives. Joel Pupola has details.
Raw materials, just like capital, serves as a major factor of production, and the Nigerian manufacturing sector relies on imports to guarantee availability of major items required to manufacture products. This, experts say, is putting pressure on the exchange rate with constant demand for dollars to import the needed commodities. This narrative is changing as the Raw Materials Research and Development Council is engaging industry experts on how to stop the capital flight by creating a platform for all stakeholders in the raw material and manufacturing sector in Africa to rub minds on best approach to reduce reliance on other continents.
We've been developing databases so that even manufacturers will know where these raw materials exist and the quantity and the size and their characteristics.
The Director General of the agency says one of the ways is improvement of local contents in the raw materials sector and strengthening the entire value chain.
Particularly in terms of value addition and the deepening of the raw material market in Africa.
Now, one of the things we do is to research into how we can increase the local content of all the materials that we use.
With the bill, which is an all-encompassing legislative framework designed as a catalyst for the raw materials sector at advanced stage, industry players are expecting a positive transformation. In Lagos, Joel Pupola, NTA News.
And that ends Panorama today. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Good afternoon.